What's up, guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and welcome to my review of Dead by Daylight, a game I absolutely love, and I've played it for, I think it's 8 days, but during those 8 days, there's an enormous amount of hours I've poured in. On my stream lately, I've been playing it more than Tekken. And that's saying a lot coming from me, because my streams are all about Tekken. So, day one with Dead by Daylight, I have to mention that I kind of hated the game. It did not give me a good first impression. So I only play as killer, because that's the role I'm interested in. It gives me, I'm gonna explain this quickly. It fits me quite well. I love the villains. I love a challenge. It's like when you're the killer, you're all on your own. Survivors, you know, you have a team and you can rely on your teammates a bit. But as a killer, every second counts. Every second you have to do good decision making and move the game along. And I appreciate that challenge, as well as their skill shots, like Pyramid Head. Again, that's also why I exclusively play as killer. I'm the biggest Pyramid Head fanboy out there. And that's why I only play Pyramid Head. Doesn't matter if he was the worst killer in the game, I would play Pyramid Head. I love that dude. So yes, I only play as killer because I have Pyramid Head, and also because I appreciate the challenge. So that's why I do that. So day one, I'm playing as first Michael Myers and then Pyramid Head. And I just got this over. I did a huge rant on it, but I almost posted to YouTube. But then I went like, no, don't dismiss the game now. Give it another shot. We need a day two. Sleep on it. And this is something I've learned in my 36 years of being alive. If something happens, something traumatic, or, you know, you play a new game or a movie and you dislike it, sleep on it. Sleep on it before you speak your mind, or before you decide that something is not for you. Or, you know, your partner said something really annoying to you. You look dumb as fuck in your toupee. You know, you're bald, but you're desperate. You have a toupee. Before you respond to that verbal aggression, sleep on it. You know, it will always help you. So anyway, day one, I felt like, my god, is this Bully the Killer the game? I had so many matches where, you know, they just looped indefinitely, flashlights, and I was like, Jesus, is this the game? Chasing people just around loops constantly. I didn't find it engaging. I found playing killer, this is almost impossible. Survivor seems super easy. I mean, there's 4 of them and they can play in a stack. Friends, voice chat. They can all do one gen individually. I mean, how are you supposed to do this as killer? Seems super unfair. Bully the Killer the game. That was my day one with Dead by Daylight. But so then I was like, no, we're giving it another chance. And day two, quite remarkable, I do almost a complete 180 of the game. And suddenly I'm like, this doesn't feel like a 3 out of 10 anymore. Now it feels like an 8 out of 10. By day 3, 9 out of 10. Day 4, 10 out of 10. I'm loving the game. Loving the game. So what was it that happened day 2? Well, I again try to apply a mindset I've talked about before. Don't get annoyed. Don't get emotional. Try to be humble introducing yourself to a new game. So don't dismiss it immediately. If something seems unfair, just try and test out if there are ways of going around that stuff, right? So immediately I started thinking about anti-looping strategies, because the looping to me seemed like a bad mechanic. Like, Jesus, why is this in the game? Just running around an obstacle forever and ever. And then like, okay, Pyramid Head has a projectile to counter that. His trail counters that. So there are ways around it, right? And I also started thinking a little bit about the survivor's perspective. I was like, oh, this seems unfair to killers. And then you're like, right, but survivors pay a hefty price in this game. Just getting hooked must be kind of annoying. Again, I've never played as a survivor, but I can still imagine like being hooked. It's like, okay, now you're impaired. You can't move. All you can do is hang there, try and get loose, but basically killing yourself, but just helplessly wait for a teammate to help you. And then if that happens 3 times, you're dead, you're out of the game. And if you're playing with friends in a stack, you have to wait for them to be done with the game. And this can take quite a while depending on the game. Wait for them to come back, and then you can queue again for another match. And survivor queues are really long, I hear. Even as a killer, when I play in the middle of the day, it can take a few minutes to find a game, but that's probably nothing compared to survivors, and especially survivors who play in a stack with friends. So I think, you know, I know gaming communities, especially competitive ones, like to whine a lot. Tekken, Dota, CS, I mean, any game, people whine a lot. And with this game, when I checked some of the forums, you have killers whine a shit ton, and you have survivors whine a shit ton. But I don't know why. It's like I've come to the conclusion that the game might not be perfectly balanced, but I feel like the developers have done a great job. I feel like if both sides play really well, 2 kills seem to be usually what happens. Lately, I've been playing against pretty strong survivors, and I tend to get like 2 kills. But I'm lucky. I've been doing well. I get 3 kills, 4 Ks. But the game seems to be balanced around getting 2 kills, and I see that as a win as a killer. When you go against strong survivors, I mean, it's not easy getting hooks and those kills. But I feel like, why are survivors whining? Why are killers whining? As a killer, you have an enormous responsibility and advantage every match. Do you know what your amazing advantage is? You're never out of a game. You're always playing, having fun. No one can take you out of a game. You're always there playing. Whereas with survivors, you can physically impair them, hook. If you want to be a douche, you can camp that hook, which is not being a douche sometimes, in my opinion. It's a strategic thing where you have to weigh. I mean, camping is so easily countered if they know what we're doing. Oh, okay, he's camping, finish the gens, you're fucked. So, you know, it's a strategic thing where you have to weigh the advantages and disadvantages at that specific moment in that match. But you can also kill someone. They're literally out of a match. So it's like, I don't know why killers... And it's like... And survivors shouldn't whine about killers. I think if everyone is equally as good in a match, all of the survivors match the skill of a killer, I think it's in the advantage of survivors. I think the advantage is not as massive as a lot of killers want to say it is, but they definitely have an advantage. So I think survivors shouldn't whine, and you know, you have a team play, you can all help each other. Killers really have to try hard, sweat, and perform. Every second counts, you know, that decision making. And survivors have amazing perks that killers get annoyed at, but I don't see mentioned often. But I mean, killers have insane perks as well. I mean, Tinkerer, are you kidding me? How ridiculously good that is. Or, you know, Corrupt Intervention, Ruin. There are so many perks here you can mention that are ridiculous. So I feel like both sides, you know, dig themselves into their trenches and shit on the other side. Oh, like we all do with everything, you know, tribalism. But it's like, give the developers some credit. Like, this is a fairly balanced game. Okay, humbly saying that after just a few days in the game. But yeah, I can't stress enough how amazingly fun this game is. How, especially when I play killer, it really fits me in terms of gameplay. You know, I get to be Pyramid Head. I get to be the villain. Kind of like that. Marduk, Kazuya, Geese. And I'm all on my own. I appreciate the challenge. And I appreciate the skill shots. Punishment with Pyramid Head, his projectile. And I love a theme. You know, you're a serial killer, and you're hunting. And they have to survive. And I love how easily you get into the game. If you want to get into Tekken, learn to Korean backdash. Just to back away. But in this game, it's FPS when you're killer. Everyone gets that. WASD, move around, and then look. And then look at your target, M1, and you hit them. Everyone gets that. I love it. So I immediately, the basics are done, and I can look at strategy. I can look at moonwalking, anti-loop. How do I optimally chase someone? How do I utilize this movement perfectly? And it's like, great. No unnecessary hurdles to get in, and just focus on the mind games immediately. Oh, and aiming Pyramid Head's projectile. And there's a lot of depth to the game. Lovely knee. I've seen that a lot of people want to say like it's a pretty simple game, but I think that's a superficial way of looking at it, and it's almost like, I don't know, you're getting fooled into thinking it's a simple game. Well, it's all about pallets, windows, vaulting, you know, looping, whatever. And it's like, well, looping alone has so many layers to it, and strategies, and how you counter it. And just the red, God, what do they call it? The red cone spot. God, I'm not using the right word, but I know you know what I'm talking about. The killer's red aura. Only playing around that and trying to hide that optimally. I mean, only that's kind of a science. And then, you know, the killer's powers, the incredible amount of perks you have in the game where you can transform on, honestly, any killer. They have their base powers and abilities. Like Pyramid Head has his cage. He can finish them if they're tormented and they're in, you know, hook-free state. Final judgment. He'll just flat out kill them immediately with his knife. And he has his trail, which has a lot of properties. And then he has punishment, his projectile. But honestly, and they all have their movement speed, etc. But when you add perks onto that, and the enormous amount of perks, and they're so different, you can change up how the killers operate. And then you have the add-ons on top of that. You have all of the maps, and this one's particularly bad, Haddonfield. You're fooled into thinking the game is simple, because it's not. So much goes into it. And God, it's so it's so endlessly satisfying. Just hitting someone, spotting someone, hooking them. Yeah, I mean, I could talk forever about how much I like this game. So I think I've squeezed in everything I wanted to say in this review. But yeah, total 180 for me. Just a total 180. I don't see myself right now flushing this game, dropping it. I'm gonna keep playing it. We'll see what happens. I'm getting kind of decent at it, I feel. I know you have a killer grade, but the matchmaking rank, the MMR, is hidden. Lately, I've played against solid survivors for sure. And I'm just very anxious to see like where this goes. If I can get to play against like top survivors, that would be awesome. To just lab that. And also get the chance to play against some friends of mine who have a game. Oh, would be lovely in custom games. And I'm not gonna play Survivor. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna keep playing Killer and Pyramid Head. I'm probably gonna try other killers as well at some point, but right now I'm just focusing Pyramid Head. And it's like people tell me, you have to play Survivor to become a super competent killer. That is true to some degree, but you do not have to play as a survivor to understand the survivor, at least in a base sense. I can lab the survivor playing against survivors. Yeah, no, I'm playing Killer. But so those were my thoughts on Dead by Daylight. Amazing game. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I hope I didn't miss out on anything. But I wanted to say, of a collection of killers is also amazing. I mean, come on, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. Michael Myers is my favorite. Huge John Carpenter fan. The 1978 movie, the original, I mean, to me, stands the test of time. It still holds up. I mean, to most of you, most of you youngsters will find it boring, but to me, it's kind of perfect. Yeah, and you have Leatherface. I mean, come on. Yeah, and now we're getting Ringu, the woman that comes out from the TV. It's been so long since I've seen it. So, yeah, I mean, what's not to love with this game? Come on. You're murdering teenagers. I don't like teenagers. But, yeah, those are my thoughts. Thanks so much for watching this review. Hope you enjoyed it. And, yeah, hope to see you in another video soon. Take care, everyone.